What I'm kind of interested in before that we talk about how you started is actually knowing what it is that you're up to right now.
The easiest way of explaining it is I create learning opportunities for schools, universities, organizations in places that they would never go on their own. So we work in areas like Northern Laos. We work in areas Cambodia, Northern Vietnam, and today here we are in Myanmar, Burma.
And when you say learning opportunities, can you be more specific about what that actually means?
Sure. Learning outside the classroom. To expand on that, learning outside the classroom could be service learning, and that's actively involving learners in a community development project. That community development project could be a school building, it could be community health clinic, it could be a village water supply. We've even built a suspension bridge to give villagers access to farmland. So it's a wide access. But getting them involved in the project means from the planning, implementation, and evaluation stages, so they get a full range in the project.
And what got you into this?
I think back in the very early 90s when I was a high school classroom teacher and going to JOLT and being motivated by people speaking with the JOLT NSIG global issues. I remember the name Kip Cates. That jumps out. But these people would just, kind of motivate that something more can happen. And then I would do my own traveling and I would see places, and I would just want my students to actually be able to see that, to be able to experience it, because that to me was a powerful, powerful learning opportunity. And I didn't want to just have my students in the classroom. I wanted them to get out. I wanted them to see these things and to interact and participate in very meaningful ways.
So what becomes possible outside the classroom that's not possible inside the classroom?
Life-changing. Life-changing. When students are outside the classroom, when they're working with people who are facing a food shortage for 6 months of the year because they can't cross a river because of floods, and it could mean that they're on one side of the river and their children are on the other, and they have insecurity of safety, insecurity of food. And you can get a number of groups of schools, students together that can help solve that problem and work together with the villagers to actually put the infrastructure in place so that the villagers have food security, have security and peace of mind. Yeah, it's life-changing. It's life-changing for the villagers. It's also life-changing for the students and the groups that come to work. They're coming and they're living in the community. They are actively working together with the villagers. They're digging and moving rocks together with the villagers. They're experiencing the life of the villagers, so that when they go back to their school, not only do they understand the project, but they really understand the motivation of the local people. I always try to say that charity is no substitute for justice withheld, and basically that means that if you're coming and giving money, it's not enough. Go and walk in the other person's shoes. Go and live their life. Go and experience their life. Then you'll really understand. Because if you really want to impact poverty, don't give somebody money. Take a poor person back to your home. Do something that's really going to change their life.
And for people who want to get involved, what do they do? What's the first step for a teacher, say like you were?
Educate yourself. Get involved. Find out what you're passionate about. Follow your passions.
Now, Graham, this conference is titled Making a Difference. Can you tell me what that means to you in terms of making a difference? How, as a teacher, we can make a difference, where we can make a difference? what kind of questions perhaps we should be asking as teachers?
It's different for each person. Each person has to be able to find their own way. Each person has to look at their own strengths and weaknesses and know what they can do and they can't do. A good example would be several years ago I was in a very rural village in northern Laos, and there was a young girl with very bad conjunctivitis. And I kept talking to the village chief about how she needs to go to the health clinic to get medicine for her conjunctivitis, and the village chief just kept saying, don't worry about it, she's fine, show no worries. And I kept thinking, no, I got to do something. And I didn't, and it haunted me for a long time. And maybe my role wasn't to take that girl to the health clinic, but 2 years later I brought in a group of Australian nurses that held a health clinic in that village, and they didn't just treat that girl with conjunctivitis because she was cured by that time, and I see her every day. I mean, I see her a lot still, but they actually did things that went way beyond that. Saving the life of a premature baby, giving elderly people relief for cataracts, many different things. So I guess you find your role. Maybe my role is to help people go there to make the difference.
How is it that these students who really, they're young, they don't have any particular skill, what is it that they can offer these communities?
Connection, going there. One of the greatest gifts that an international high school student can give to a high school student in a small rural village in Laos is an interest in their language, in their culture, in their community. All the kids in the rural communities, they think that, the people in Tokyo or Hong Kong are the cool ones. It is so empowering when somebody from Hong Kong goes there and says, wow, you're cool. That's what they can do.
And you make schools, make water supplies. What is the stuff that you do?
We do all kinds of things. It depends on the exact needs of the community, and the needs analysis process is really important. We've built nursery schools, we've built elementary schools, we've done toilets for high schools, we've done dormitories for high schools, we've done village water supplies, we've done village health clinics, we've built bridges. I mean, there's a wide variety of things.
So these kids come there without, they may have never picked up a saw in their life before. How does that work?
Most of them have never cut a piece of wood, they've never hammered a nail, they've never mixed cement, and they learn how to do all of these things, and that is a huge learning opportunity.
You make a distinction between donation, volunteerism, and educational tours. Can you explain that a little bit?
We do service learning. I don't like just volunteering because Burma does not need people to come here and take the job of another local laborer. But what they do need is they need people to be able to come here and learn about their realities, to learn about the realities of our world, and to help them make their own change. In the past, it was the idea that students would go and do a volunteer project, but service learning is students being involved in all stages of a project in a community that has a real need. So they're part of the planning, they're part of the implementation, and they're part of the evaluation. So that's the distinction. You don't want students just to come and do a bit of volunteering, you want them involved in the whole process.
Could you give an example of such a thing?
One of the schools that we work with in Bangkok, the teacher's very keen on integrating this into numerous aspects of the school curriculum, and students will work on, integrating that project into the different parts of it. Senior students will be going out to do a needs analysis in the community. They then go back to the school. They recruit junior students to fundraise and take part in the project. They then plan a trip to go and do the project. And the next year, those junior students go back and evaluate the project to see what has happened and do the next needs analysis. So it's kind of a ongoing cycle.
So those students, in fact, are becoming teachers of the next generation that are coming through?
Yeah, peer learning.
You think back to your time in Japan, and you think about where you are now, and you think about Japanese teachers in Japan, and you think about Japanese students in Japan. How might they get involved?
Last year we had a Tokyo high school come out, quite a famous old high school. It came about because I met the teacher, and we made a sort of personal connection, and he knew that I had a connection with Japan, and he knew the school that I used to teach at in Japan. And from that I gave him the confidence that yes, he wanted to bring his students out.
How is a trip really to Laos or to Myanmar relevant to a high school student in Japan or a college student?
When you take students from Japan and you put them into a rural Laos or rural Cambodian village setting, it's completely different for them. They can't imagine, how can you live without the ofuro, and how can you live without the umeboshi, or all the different things, and they comment that they can't believe how happy the people are. They don't have money. They don't have the material things that we take for granted, but they're happy. They smile, they laugh, they play, and they're always saying like it's amazing that how happy the people are. And I think that is the big thing, the reason why you need to get out and do something like this, because you can really see how people live successfully in a way that you never imagined. You can see life through the eyes of another. I think the main thing for Japanese teachers, Japanese students, is don't be afraid of making that jump. Our world is big and you never know what's going to happen, but every place I've gone to, I've found that I've met people who want to be happy. They want their families to be safe. They want their children to be able to grow up and have a good education and a good job. The things that are similar between our different countries are much stronger than the things that are different. So look for the things that are similar and take the chance. That's what I think they need to do.